Hi, I'm Andrew Davies. This is going to be my first video for YouTube. What I'm going to be talking about in these videos is basically, movies, pop culture, movie reviews, anything that really comes up. And for my first video, I'm going to be talking about a movie I just saw today, Evil Dead, which is a remake of the 1981 Sam Raimi cult classic, The Evil Dead. Now, I only recently discovered the original Evil Dead films last year. I had known about them, but I had never seen them. So saw the first two last year, really liked them. They instantly became like two of my favorite films of the genre. Just recently, I went back and rewatched the first two and saw Army of Darkness for the first time, which I had a lot of fun with. Uh, so I really liked the trilogy. I guess I consider myself a new fan of the franchise. I had been interested in seeing this new remake for a while, and so I saw it today, and I think it's quite a good movie, really good actually. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. I mean, it really does make the first one look tame by comparison. That's not a knock against the original film. It's great. Uh, what I liked about this film is that it's a good remake. It does what a good remake should do, which is reimagine the source material, take the basic concept and reimagine it for a new era, find different angles to approach it, from which to approach it. And okay, sorry. Anyway, what I really liked about this film was the setup, which is that the character Mia, played by Jane Levy, she's a drug addict, and her three friends and her brother have taken her to this cabin in the woods to help her go through detox. And what I liked about this setup is that it's very different from other horror movie setups like this, where the reason the main characters will go to a cabin in the woods is for spring break, good time, and you're supposed to assume that life's pretty great outside of the horrific events of the film. But this film really establishes early on a very somber tone, a sort of tone that, okay, not everything is good outside of the main events of the film, that life is pretty shitty for this character, Mia. And I thought Jane Levy gave a really great performance, a star-making performance. She's from the ABC show Suburgatory. I haven't seen a lot of the show, but it's still quite surprising to see how she went from a light-hearted sitcom like that to a really dramatic role like this, where she's a drug addict and then she gets possessed by a demon because, of course, this being Evil Dead, they discover a book in the basement. Eric, one of the characters, reads from the book, and the demons start possessing them. And I really liked that the drug addiction storyline gave a little bit of dramatic weight to the proceedings, made what was happening to these characters a little more intense because they were already kind of on edge. And of course, what I also liked is that for a while they think that the reason Mia is acting the way she is because she's going through a panic attack or withdrawal. And, this is a little bit like The Exorcist, where they kept trying to rationalize what was happening to the Linda Blair character, Regan, by saying, oh, this, that, and makes it feel all the more real because I think in a situation like this, we would try to rationalize against our better judgment, against what's really going on in the back of our heads. And yeah, what I liked about the film was how real it felt. It wasn't realistic, not all the characters were completely fleshed out, but in comparison to something like Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness, where those films were very comedic, this is very stripped down, and when the bad stuff in this film happens, it's not played for laughs. It's very hardcore and intense. Yeah, this is definitely not the slapsticky stuff. That this isn't the same tone as Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness. This is more like the original film, which was pretty much a straight horror film, and even it's even going further than that. It's quite a dark film, visually, tonally. Doesn't have that many laughs in it. There are a few comedic modes. There are a few modes where you almost have to laugh to relieve the tension. It's that kind of film where your defense mechanisms hit in and you're laughing not because of stuff that is actually funny, but because you know you try to protect yourself from how horrific it actually is what you're seeing. And I know some people may say this film is just gory for gory's sake, and I think that's a legitimate criticism. At the same time, I think that with doing an Evil Dead remake, you almost have to go all the way. And I like that the film was able to use the gory elements to make us really feel for the characters, to make us feel like we're in this nightmare with them. And, we really do feel for them because they get brutalized. I do wish there was a little bit more of character development for some of the characters, particularly the other two females. They feel a little bit underwritten. But as it goes on, you do like come to like the David character, who is Mia's brother. And there is some nice relationship backstory stuff to their story to their relationship. Uh, and Eric, you come to like him too, and you feel like he's the one who kind of knows what's going on, who's not trying to rationalize what's happening. He knows that he's unleashed something evil. I do like some of the bits between David and Eric, and near the end of the film, there is a very poignant moment between them. And Eric, he's a tough son of a bitch in this film. I mean, he receives a lot of poundings, but he keeps living. And there is a just let everyone know, and I think people know this already. There is the tree rape scene is in this film, but it's a little bit different. Uh, Sam Raimi, he has said that he regretted putting it in because he felt it was a little bit too he went a little bit too far with that. And critics have accused the scene of being misogynistic. The tree rape suits is in this, except that Mia's not really raped by the tree. She sees a demon version of herself, I believe, and she something comes out of her mouth like this goo, and it goes up Mia's. I guess you could say it goes into Mia's vagina, and yeah, so it's a little bit it's similar but different. I guess some people may still say it goes a little bit too far. Um, I'm okay. I'm okay with both scenes. I think the original scene is still probably the best. It's very imaginative and really puts you in the mindset of the Cheryl character. Like, is this really happening? Oh my god! And near the end of this film, this is a little bit spoilery, but near the end of this film, I thought they were going to do the chainsaw on the arm thing, like from Evil Dead 2. They don't, but there is one shot near the end with the chainsaw that feels like it's like taken from Evil Dead 2. It's very iconic. It's very Raimi-ish, and the director of this film, Fede Alvarez. He's got a good visual eye. I like the way he stages some of the scenes. I like the look of the film, the fact that it's always rainy and that the cabin really is decrepit. It's not like they don't try to make it like kind of homey the way they usually do in films like this. It's everything about this film is very somber. It's not one note, but he has a good feel for tone. This director, uh, and he doesn't really try to be Raimi too much. Like I'm not expert on every visual technique Raimi has used in his films, but you know to watch this film and feel that Sam Raimi is directing it, or that Alvarez is trying too hard to be Sam Raimi. He's got his own kind of style. Sometimes he relies a little too much on the jump scares. Like a lot of horror films these days, there are some moments that are kind of not cheap, but use the whole, you know. But still, I really like this film. I don't have much more to say. All I'll say is that if you're a fan of the original films, and if you go into it knowing that this is going to be more like the first film, uh, then I think you'll appreciate it. I think you'll feel that it's a worthy update of the original film. And as I said, what's good about it is that it's a reimagining rather than just following the plot line of the original film too much and just being kind of different. It really is its own thing. So much so that you can almost imagine it being a sequel to the original films or sort of a quasi sequel. There's even been some rumors, I believe, of doing a crossover with Bruce Campbell coming back as Ash. Sort of like they would do in our Evil Dead Army of Darkness with Bruce Campbell, and then cross it over with the character from this film, which I could see happening in like a post Avengers world where people really are thinking big in terms of continuity and crossovers. I don't know how Bruce Campbell would fit into this new kind of style that they've established in this film. But I think it'd be interesting to see him come back. I think it'd be groovy. And of course, this is a spoiler. I guess it's a minor spoiler, but at the end of the credits, you see Bruce Campbell in profile. He says groovy and turns to the camera very dramatically. I wanted a little bit more after the credits, but it's a nice little nod for the fans. And yeah, I really like this. I thought it had a surprising emotional resonance. Um, I like the Mia character. I love Jane Levy. I love Jane Levy. She's great. As I said, this is a star-making performance, and I hope it establishes her as a big screen actress. Nothing wrong with being a television actress, but hope she's now in the big leagues after this film. So anyway, that's my first review. I'll leave some links in the sidebars for my blog and the stuff I write for What Culture and Examiner.com, as well as Scene Creek if you want to read the stuff I do. Uh, so anyway, I'll see you later. Hope you enjoyed the review.